Hi guys, James at RampantLionReviews again for you today with another beer review. For this one we are going to go to one of the famous Swedish phantom brewers. Of course the Swedes like to call the gypsy brewers phantom brewers rather than gypsy brewers for some reason, but for this one we are going to return to Electric Nurse and we're having a taste of the Pale Ale this time. So I reviewed for you before the Winter Brown Ale, which was really nice, and this guy is quite highly rated on Rate Beer too. This is probably their most widely available beer, so I'm very interested to see exactly what this guy is all about, because their beers are really quite highly rated and they really love their hop forward beers as well. So if you love hop forward beers, then this is a brewery that you should really try some things from. But anyway, as is usual with my beer reviews then, I'll tell you a little bit about the brewery. If you do want to get straight to the tasting, just fast forward. All the usual websites are in the video description below. That's the brewery website, the link to my other reviews that I'll do from Electric Nurse. There is one for you there before, but there will be many more added in the near future because I really enjoy their beers. And there's all the usual social media things, Facebook, Twitter and Untappd, so please follow me on there. If you want to see more beer reviews, just subscribe to the channel, and I will apologise in advance for any bad Swedish pronunciations in this video. I'm still getting used to that, of course, since I moved here to Lund, and pronunciation, trust me on that, is one of the more difficult things when it comes to Swedish. But anyway, to tell you about Electric Nurse. So as I mentioned, Electric Nurse are a phantom brewery and they're based primarily in Göteborg, or Gothenburg as you would say in English, but they were founded in 2012 by Peter Robertson and Ida Engström, and Peter is an electrical engineer while Ida is a nurse, hence the name Electric Nurse for the brewery. But both of them love the American hoppy beers because of the very fruity and kind of high hop forward flavours, and they released their first beers in early 2013, taking this kind of mentality into their brewing. But more recently they've expanded the range to produce a few different styles as well. So just to list a few of the different beers you can get from these guys, there's the Pale Ale here, there's the Peros, which is an IPA, Marmalade IPA, which is supposed to be very nice. Hopefully I can review that one for you at some point soon. There's also the Double IPA and the Imperial Stout, and the next one I want to review is the Stout beer, because I think it's always good to try to try a lighter and more hoppy beer, and then to try a darker one, of course. And the Brown Ale that I reviewed for you before is kind of somewhere in the middle of that, so we'll see how we get on with that. But they do have a few seasonal beers as well. They've got their Christmas Ale and also the Winter Brown Ale that I reviewed for you before, so do check those out. The Winter Brown Ale was beautiful, so I look forward to having that again next year. We need to see if we can get a hold of that one. But anyway, that's enough about the brewery. Let's actually get on to the tasting of this one here. I'll just let you have a little look at the artwork of this one before we open it up. This one comes in at 4.6% American Pale Ale. As you can see, there's a nice little monkey just hanging from the sea on there. This one comes in at 4.6%. I'll just tell you the hop and malt profile on this one. So it's hopped with American Cascades, Centennial and Citrus, so you'll get a nice big sort of floral aromaticity from this one, some tropical fruit and probably some citrus as well, and you'll get a nice malt base of Pilsner and caramalts in this one, so it should be really interesting. Like I told you at the start of the video, this one's quite highly rated. It was rated at 80 out of 100 on Rate Beer, so it should be quite a nice beer, and some of the other ones that this brewery do are rated even higher than that, so we'll need to see if we can review those in the near future. And it's just a plain bottle cap on this one, incidentally. So without further ado then, let's get stuck into this one and we'll get on with the tasting. So as you can see, a nice smoky opening on this one, carbonation just rushing to the surface. One of the things I've also just noticed on the bottle here is that it says Starköl, which literally means strong beer. You can see that just on the bottom of the label there. But one thing I should probably tell you about Swedish beers, if you don't know, you can see it's Starköl just there. But in Sweden you actually can't buy beers or any alcohol outside of the supermarket that is more than 3.5%. You have to go to the nationalised beer shops, Systembolaget, so anything that is over 3.5% is labelled as Starköl, even if it's only like 4% or something like that. Not very strong at all, of course. But to get the properly good Swedish beers, you do need to go to Systembolaget. But as you can see, this beer is poured a really nice, kind of bright, orangey golden amber colour. It looks really nice. There's one or two little bits of sediment around the bottom of the glass there. You can see there's a solid 2/3 finger of a frothy white head there, some big kind of some bigger bubbles sticking towards the side of the glass, but quite a few little ones just going up towards the bottom of the head there. You can see there is a bit of transparency to the beer, but overall it is quite opaque. But it's a very bright orangey amber colour, this one. It looks very nice. So let's have a look at the aroma of this one before we get stuck in. So without sugaring it up, there's a definite hoppy presence in there, as you would expect when it's a pale ale. There's some nice juicy fruit character in there. There's a bit of grapefruit and passion fruit, but more, without sugaring it up, I think it's more sort of peaches and mangoes that come out of this one, the more juicy tropical fruits. There's a definite element of citrus in there as well, and some grassy hops. You can smell a little bit of the aromaticity too, and definitely you can pick up that nice sweet caramel and biscuity malt base coming out of this one. So let's give it a sugar and see how that changes it. Oh yeah, that makes more the tropical fruit just stand out that bit more. You start to get more of these hoppy notes out of this one when you sugar it up like that, but the caramel, in fairness, does start to pop out a bit more too. Yeah, you get a caramelly and biscuity note when you sugar it up like this, but the grapefruit and passion fruit, those more pungent hoppy notes start to come out of this beer a bit more. The tropical elements just smell that little bit less juicy and a little bit more pungent, I would say. But overall, it does have quite a nice aroma. So without further ado then, let's get stuck into this beer. So this is the Pale Ale from Electric Nurse, one of the Phantom breweries here in Sweden, based primarily in Gothenburg. Skål! Yeah, no, that's pretty nice actually. First thing you're going to notice about this beer, and this is something I've been told Electric Nurse do very well, and of course in my experience it does match up. These guys are very good at balancing their hops and their malts. They do like hop forward beers, but at the same time you always get a nice bit of malty sweetness out of their beer. This one is no exception to that. The American Brown Ale that I reviewed from them, I was really impressed with that. I really enjoyed that beer, and this one is another very good beer. So as I say, sugar the beer around your palate a little bit and just let the whole mouth adjust to this one. But in the middle of the palate you're getting a nice kind of bready malt base, and that just blankets the middle of the tongue. On top of that, of course, you get some biscuity cereal character, and then you get some of the more rich caramel in there. I think it's fair to say this beer really does lean more towards the sort of hoppy side of things rather than the malty character, but that said, it is quite well balanced. The difference between this, of course, and an IPA is that you've got more hops. You've got a higher, I think it's a higher hop to malt ratio, and obviously a bigger ABV in those beers too. But yeah, this is another very, very good beer from Electric Nurse. I certainly wouldn't hesitate to drink this one again. It's very light and very sessionable. You know, if you want a few beers at a party, this one's got a good bit of flavour to it, so it would be very good for that. So yeah, much like you were getting from the aroma, from the hoppy side of things, there's a nice smooth grassiness to this beer. If you go around the edge of the palate primarily, there's a bit of floral character in there from all of these American hops, but mainly around the front of the tongue it is quite smooth and grassy. There's a bit of dryness from the floral character and the front corners of the palate, but other than that, it is actually really quite nicely done, I would say. Yeah, I have to admit, really quite enjoy this beer. Very nicely done, like I say. So to dissect these hoppy characters a little bit more, if you go just behind the front curve of the tongue, there's a little oily bubble there, and within that you can detect some grapefruit and some passion fruit. They're actually quite subtle in this beer, I would say. They're quite juicy and quite weak, if you like, but it's more, this beer isn't kind of very punchy when it comes to these really pungent, quite sour tropical fruit notes, I would say. It's more like a kind of just a sort of sweet candied fruit bowl, if you like. That's how the fruit flavours in this one come out. They're very nice. Like the blend of flavours that you get in this beer are very good, and I remember thinking the same thing with the brown ale. All the flavours in that blended together very well, and that's probably one of the kind of traits that you're going to get when it comes to the beers from Electric Nurse. So yeah, I'll stick with that statement. You know, there is a bit of grapefruit there and a bit of passion fruit. Those are usually the more pungent, fruity notes that you get when it comes to tropical fruit esters, but they just underpin the beer. On top of that, there's some nice juicy mangoes and peaches. There is a bit of citrusy character in there as well. But overall, the hoppy character in this one, or the fruity side of the hoppy character, is quite juicy, and it's just a nice mix of things, and the hoppy character on the side of the palate is just, you know, it's quite grassy and quite smooth, but there is an element of floral aromaticity to this beer. Yeah, there is, when you take the beer in, you start to get more of this floral aromaticity out of it, and the carbonation comes in just with a little bit of a prickle, and you get the dry, bitter aspects of the beer. But overall, the flavours do blend together very nicely in this one, and it's quite a nice, flavourable, drinkable beer, this one. So it's a really good one, this. I definitely wouldn't hesitate to drink it again. In terms of the mouthfeel, I would say mid-bodied on this one, probably on the lighter side of mid-bodied. Carbonation is very smooth, but it comes in with a little bit of an attack, and that helps bring out the sort of floral, the sort of more subtle floral aromatic characters of the beer. It's a little bit oily as well. There's some nice fruity, juicy character. As I say, it's well mixed. The malt base has a little bit of sweetness to it, mainly bready though, in my opinion. But you've got some nice biscuity and caramelly malts on top of that, but there's a good bit of kind of nice smooth hop in this one. There's a little bit of dry and bitter character, not too much. Overall, this is a very, pardon me, a very smooth beer. The carbonation, of course, is coming out a little bit as you take a few more sips of it, but overall it's a very, very nice beer, this. So I would recommend, if you want to try Swedish beer, Electric Nurse is a really good place to start if you enjoy the hoppy beers. These guys produce some really well balanced ales in my opinion, and I really want to try their Marmalade IPA and perhaps the Double IPA and the Imperial Stout as well. But I probably will review all of their beers and then try and keep up with the seasonals that they bring out there. In my opinion, I've enjoyed the beers that they've done so far, so there's no reason for me not to review the other ones. They produce some really awesome stuff. So yeah, I hope you've enjoyed this beer review. As always, let me know in the comments section below your own thoughts on this beer. Let me know what you think about the brewery as well. I'd be interested to hear from you there, and do let me know some of your other Swedish beers and breweries that you'd like me to have a look at. The standard of things here is very high actually, so I would be interested to hear the thoughts of those of you watching here in Sweden. But yeah, let me know your own thoughts on this beer. Until the next one, please like, subscribe, share, all the usual YouTube stuff. Go and check out some Electric Nurse beers, and yeah, I shall catch you soon with my next beer reviews. There's a lot of good beer here in Sweden, so do have a look at the channel and have a look at some of the other beers I've reviewed for you. Go and check out my social media things, but most importantly, go and check out Electric Nurse, and I'll catch you soon with my next beer review, and we will return to Electric Nurse in the fairly near future. Slanja just now.